The affairs of the world do not concern us.
Welcome to Old Fight Clan. Yes. Today, I've got a guest with me, Youri Reintgen. Hopefully, pronounce that okay, Youri?
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Perfect.
Thank you. Today, I've got him on because I want to have a chat with him about his martial arts and martial arts journey. So, welcome, Youri.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
Yeah, beautiful. See, he knows the methods. Pay respects. Love it. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're more than welcome. I first noticed Youri when I was on Instagram. I can't remember why we connected or what our reasons were. But before we go on, I must ask you, what's that drink you're drinking there? What is that?
Oh, yeah, you're brilliant, brother. It's called gunpowder tea.
Oh, gunpowder tea, yes.
Exactly. We also call it Tai Chi tea. It's very good for cultivation, my master said.
Well, you know. Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes, perfect.
Mine is just a little water with added manuka honey and a little bit of magnesium as well. So
Oh, very nice for the electrolytes.
Exactly.
Very good, brother.
Yes, that's right. So you've got Tai Chi tea. We love that. That's great. I'm gonna start with asking you, Youri, about where your interest from martial arts came when you first started. So why are you interested in martial arts? Where did that come from?
So I mainly invest my time in traditional Chinese martial arts, but also modern. My interest for modern martial arts came when I studied deeper traditional martial arts. So on the road of training Kung Fu, I started seeing the benefits of modern martial arts as well. You know, like getting a proper jab and cross, having some head movements. That
Sure.
lacks a little bit in most Kung Fu styles. And but I didn't had any great martial art interest as a child. I think I would have loved it if my parents would have put me into a dojo. But maybe luckily, because through the distance, I was very interested as a teenager in martial arts. And at one point, I took a crazy decision and I told my mother I'm going to save my money to go to China.
And what age do we remember?
It was 4 years ago, so I was 21.
Okay. When you made that decision, had you done any martial arts before you decided to go China?
No, that's why it was a super stupid idea, and I thought like it's going to work out, but they ripped me apart the first 3 months, like completely.
Wow, that is a really, as you say, pretty strange decision to come out. I mean, did it really come out of the blue? What was your motivation for saying, well, I've never done any martial arts, but I want to do some martial arts. Instead of going down a local sports center and doing a bit of karate, I'm going to book a plane ticket to China. Where did that come from?
Yeah, so I had different possibilities. I could have said, I just go to a normal karate or kung fu gym in my surrounding area, but I was like if I'm being honest to myself, I'm going to probably train there 2 times a week for 1 hour. So the amount of training I get in 1 month is like very low. It's like 20-30 hours of training, if you don't take spare time. And I was like, if you go to China for just 1 month, you're going to have the training of 6 months here in the school, like from the hours. Most of the Kung Fu schools and academies, they train for 6 till 9 hours. It's different where you are. So I was like, it's going to be super worth it. I'm going to have like a great learning curve, way better than any of my friends who studied here martial arts.
Of course.
So yes. So that was
your
the
way
main
of catching
point.
up. You've not done nothing before.
Yes.
And people have been doing martial arts for a long time before you. And you're like, well, I've got to catch up. So I'm going to go in like it's like an intense course,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So look, I didn't know you were going to say this because I don't, as you know, I don't prepare any of this. I don't come on with any preconceived notions. The reason I had you on is because I liked the energy of your Instagram channel. I could tell I liked the energy. It was calm and peaceful, but I liked some of the things you were saying as well. But I also liked the martial arts you were doing, and you obviously commented on one of my Born Invincible videos as well. So yeah, that was brilliant. But it was the energy that brought me here. So I didn't know anything about your story and why you did this. So I didn't know I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah,
But now
that's so funny. You know, I tricked you a little bit, Steve. I didn't want to tell you because I was like, maybe that's going to take a little bit of the. I think you got the right person because I think a lot of our kung fu community, as let's say in general, the martial arts community, most martial artists are very full of ego and problems, you know, and that's why most of them come to martial arts because it humbles them and helps them a lot. I think in the kung fu community that there's nothing of that. I think kung fu community is very humble and has a great how do you say that? I think in Japanese you say bushido, you know, like having a code as a martial artist.
Sure.
And so yeah, like with going to China, it's like I just thought it would be a nice present for you to have like an authentic Chinese student here.
Unbelievable. So you are right. And I must ask you more about it because I didn't know anything about it. So I've got to ask, you don't need to give me too much detail, but how did you find out that such a thing even existed?
So yeah, after I did my high school, my mom pleaded me to do my high school because I wanted to do like work-based learning skills, and I took a time off and started working. And I told my mom after I did my high school, like, I now want to do something for my soul, you know? I don't want to do something for you as my parents, or what the society wants me to do, or what people want me to do. Exactly. So I was like, what can I do to really improve myself? And I was like, maybe I want to go like traveling for a year, maybe to India, Thailand, or something like this. But I was like, I don't want to make it a party vacation. I want to have like, I want to grow as a person. I don't want to have like you know I think Western society is a lot about distractions, you know, like a lot of entertainment and everything. And I was like, oh, do you want to do that again? You know, go to a country and get drunk and do party? I was like, no, that's not the point of it. I want to have like a vacation where I really have time for myself, you know. And I was like, maybe I go to Japan. That was the first thought, learn karate. But foreign karate schools in Japan are very expensive, and the living expenses are very high. And I thought that
Right.
karate is not as spiritual as it was once, because
Okay.
the decision why I found out about kung fu schools in general was like, I really want to search for a place where I can develop on a. We have several planes of existence. We have a material world, our bodies, you know, they need material things, but I also have our psyche, our mental. And our soul level. I was like, I want to grow on all these three aspects. And I was like, karate or Muay Thai school would be more like on a physical aspect. And then the only real good decision where I was like, I resonate with it 100% was a kung fu school. So I went online and looked up Kung Fu School China. Can I train in China? I started watching YouTube videos about vlogs about people training in China. I started reading in forums so I can get scam safe, because it happens a lot in Asian countries. You get scammed as a foreigner very often. They
Right.
think you have the money, you know.
Yeah.
Um, So I prepared myself mentally and started writing with a school, and that school gave me an admission, so I could apply at the Chinese. How do you say that, embassy, right? I could apply at the Chinese embassy in Frankfurt, and I got my visa and flew there, and yeah, trained there for 1 year.
Well, this is brilliant. I completely understand. I've never been into the whole Western drinking party lifestyle. It's never gelled with me.
Yes.
Even though I'm English, and you probably think that I watch football and drink beer. I don't. The way you thought about it, that you thought about it deeper. This is not a holiday where I just want to go and travel and see what happens. You would have learnt stuff, of course, doing that. You would have experienced new things, but you had more of a deeper planning mind rather than just going, let's see what happens. You said, let's put some focus into something. Let's have something there to achieve where I know I'm going to get something out of it. It isn't going to be by chance who I bump into, who I meet, the places I go. You forced yourself into that situation. And, you know, this is very brave considering you never done martial arts before as well, you know.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
you know, great. You know, I commend you for it. I commend you for it. And obviously, you can tell. You can tell me this as well, Youri. I presume it was in now you have done it, that it was the right, you believe it was the right decision, and it has, how much has it changed your life since coming back?
I think it was the best decision of my life, and or the second best decision of my life. Uh, Coming back from China, it was strange in the first place, but now that it is like 4 years ago, and I start incorporating my training into my daily life here in Western society, having a job, having responsibilities, studying, you know, at the university. So I
Right.
needed to incorporate it. I could not. That's the problem, because you train there for 6 till 8 hours, and
Yes.
you come back and you don't even have like 2 hours a day for training, and so it was a very strange time for me. But getting a balance over the years between training and how much I can invest in it, and how much yeah, you know, like I started to make how do you say that? Sorry for my vocabulary. Like,
Yeah, well, it's better than my German vocabulary, so you don't have to apologize for that. Very good.
I had yeah, conflicts over the years, how much I could invest in it, and if I was like, you know, the thing is like, I if you really train with Chinese masters, you get a kind of responsibility for training it. You know,
Okay.
you gain a heritage. You know, like you become a part of a bigger family, and it is. What's the most interesting thing about Kung Fu for me, that you enter a family, you know, you become
Yes.
exactly, you become an initiate, and it's something even esoteric, you know. Most of these practices we even say in Chinese, locked door practice, you know, because the masters didn't teach anyone outside of the school. In Tai Chi, for example, we have a lot of locked door practices, like means like the school door was closed when they started practicing these secret techniques. So yeah, yeah, that sounds like a crazy kung fu film, but a lot of these kung fu films are more realistic than most people would think of.
Of course, these
Yeah, but
ideas they stem from somewhere. Yeah, a lot of, so in this film, Born Invincible, you can tell a lot of
yes,
these ideas were dreamt up out of someone's head, but they accentuate it, so they stem from somewhere. So there's a scene towards the end of this film in the last fight where it's actually more than one fight where he does it, where Carl Wong, he puts his feet into the floor, he digs them in, and he does this Bagua. He creates it with his feet. He draws it with his feet. And someone might go, well, you can't draw into the dirt. You know, he sinks
yeah,
it in. He used the qigong, he put it in the floor, and he creates trails in the floor, and he creates the
yeah,
bagua, and he gets in the center of the bagua, and then he fights from there, because that's where he's protected and he's most powerful. And so someone might go, well, of course he can't do that, right, with his feet. But it's not the point. The point is film, entertainment, but it stems from somewhere.
Exactly.
You know, the idea has a beginning.
Yeah.
It's just that someone took it and then made it more, you know, interesting or whatever, or exciting
Exactly.
for a viewer. But the ideas, they come from somewhere.
Yeah.
You know,
They
there
exactly,
is truth
for
in
sure.
it.
For sure. I think most people that's the thing. Like if we talk about kung fu, there's a lot of things that need to be mentioned, because kung fu is not kung fu. Especially in the USA, there's a lot of bullshido, a lot of bad kung fu practiced. A lot of kung fu masters had dumped down their training because it was too hard for foreigners and Westerners. So finding traditional, real kung fu, especially masters who still train sparring and still fight, it's very rare. So I think kung fu in general is very mystical, and we don't know a lot of things about it. But there are. It is thousands of years old. It came from real fighting. It came from like battlegrounds, like it came from armies. So it's more realistic is not possible. So the origin of it is very straightforward martial arts, self-defense, and even killing. Like kung fu is like how you see it in the films is more realistic than most people who practice it today. Because like my master told me, 90% of the Shaolin moves go to the throat, to the eyes, or to the balls.
Forest tiger!
So it's like in the films, where they rip off their eyes, or like they stab the fingers into the heart. And it's very funny, because he said like he knew masters who still had stories about stuff like this from late Thai fights from the 1880s, from the 19th century, where his master still had late Thai fights before the Chinese Revolution started. And yeah, even my master needed to hide himself from the Chinese revolutionists, from the Red Guard. They were hunted down, and especially the masters who were the most authentic either got into the military and were used for military, for personal bodyguards, for politicians, or they got killed. So Kung Fu has a very great and horrible history, and that's why for me it's a heritage. Bring it into the Western realm, because it's very rarely practiced very well.
Yeah, well, it's a shell of what it was originally for. As you say, this stuff was a lot of the time done in secret. They wasn't allowed to train, wasn't allowed to practice, so they would hide it in certain things. Like, we know with the farmers and their weapons and stuff, they were using it to chop down the wheat, but really they were training. They were stirring the rice with a big long pole, and you go, why is he stirring it with a big long pole? And why does the rice have to be so big and so heavy? It's like, because he's training. He's training. The student never knew. This is from the films, the Kung Fu films. They have that heritage there. They know their history, and they show it to you. And you can either look at it as a guy stirring a big massive tin of rice or chopping down the wheat, or you look at it and for what it's there for, and it's to show that link to the training. And he's going, well, look, I came here, I thought I was going to learn some Kung Fu. And the master says, you just cook that rice and serve that rice, right? Because we need to pick the rice and we need to eat, or we've got no energy. So you just do that and don't worry about it, right? And he's got this big thing and he's stirring it round and he can't do it. Like, this is too hard. And he's like, just do it. And then later on, he gets it out of the rice, and all of a sudden, the master comes in with something, or he throws something at him, and he's gone.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa. And he can control this big long pole that's been stuck in this solid rice. He's strong. He's built up lots of this. This is the base of the training. Now the master can go, now you are strong enough to control the pole. Now you have the control over the length of the pole because it's been stuck in heavy rice stirring round.
Yes.
Now I can show you stuff because your body is capable. Your body is capable of it, and your mind as well, because I stopped you worrying about learning martial arts and coming in and wanting to beat people up. And I don't know why you want to learn it, but now you are more ready to do stuff. I've trained you, and through something that we need, harvesting crops, eating, feeding everybody else. They were angry, these people in there doing this. They're looking at everyone else training and doing stuff. What about me, master? Sifu, why can I not do this? So you'll get there. And he comes out and he's got different skills, So this is brilliant. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
And you've actually spoken to masters that know these things. But the origins of the kung fu, like you say, they are down. You would not find these things down your local sports center.
No, definitely not. They I swear, Chinese people in general, they are built different. And when my master told me what his master did, and that his master trained even worse, and that his master of his master trained even worse, and it goes on and on and on, and you were like, no way that my master could do 50 minutes of Mabu. Mabu is insane. It's doing 5 minutes of Mabu takes me 150% of my willpower, and this guy did 50 minutes of Mabu, and he started sweating at 25 minutes. That's impossible, and you mentioned several things, because I can tell you a story about my master. It was very funny. He told it me and my other students that when he was young, he didn't get into a kung fu school. There was a kung fu school in his neighborhood, but he said he was not that intelligent. He didn't like mathematics, so he didn't have any great hopes for school. So when he was 8, 9, and he saw his siblings being more intelligent than him, he told his mother that he wanted to get into that kung fu school, and that kung fu school didn't accept him. So he started to train from 7 years until 10 years every day by himself. Knowing the basic trainings, he started doing Mabu and started chopping bricks. And when he could chop a brick with 10 years, he came to that master and showed him that, and then the master accepted him as a disciple. So it's it's a very different time, being able to do that at 10 years. And back then, the times also they demanded it. Now it's a different we have a different spirit right now, people getting very weak. It's we don't want to invest time anymore.
I know.
Yes. So
this is crazy. This is interesting, though, that this is your teacher you're talking about this story, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hua Shifu. He's I think Hua Shumen is his name.
Okay. Sifu Hua Shumen. He's good because this guy at a time when, and even now is the same, you are forced into things that you have no interest in, that the society tells you to do. And he saw what some will perceive as a weakness of, I'm not like the rest of these. I can't, I'm not academically the same. But most people accept that, and he didn't, right? He doesn't have to be like that. That is the system that is set up for us, that is there in our face. We come out of school and that is what is in our face. We leave school and we have no idea what to do most of the time. We just stand there. I remember going home from school, walking home going, what am I going to do now? And I just went indoors and went in my bedroom and sat there and went, what do I do? I don't go to school tomorrow. So what do I do? I have good parents. I have good guidance. Very hardworking parents, so I was okay. But the main thing here is that this Sifu said, there is something else for me. There is something else that I can gravitate to, that I can excel in, that I can be good in. And he had the strength of character to pursue that. With probably his parents going, why can't you be like your brother and your sister?
Exactly.
They're going to be doctors, dentists, this, that, and the other. And he's like, it's not my thing. This is not my thing. This is my thing. But you will make no money. And that's this is not about money. The money I have to make because of this system you have put in front of me. I don't want no part of this. I have to have part of this. Otherwise, I'm going to freeze because I'm going to be cold. I'm going to be hungry. But that's because we've taken away all the natural resources. The way to eat and the way to heat yourself is all changed. And it's
Exactly.
changed because then we are forced to do what they want us to do because we need this money to do that. But this guy had the strength of character to go, no, this is not for me. And now
Yes.
hopefully he's had a very fulfilling life doing what he wants to do, exploring his creativity and not being dumbed down by society and the basic rules of, well, just do that and be just the workforce robot. This
Yes.
is excellent.
Excellent. Yes, I think so too. Because the thing you can like, it is like that's what I love about China. We should not compare the Chinese government with its society, or the Chinese people have, like, we should not expect that the Chinese people are blindly supporting what the government is doing there. I think if you are under such a well-programmed mind control since 90 years, the Chinese people are actually doing pretty well. You know, they still keep up old traditional and culture, even though the Chinese culture tried to destroy it. So there were back then still a lot of people accepted that way of life. You know, who accepted like it could be a good decision to train kung fu, but at that time already weapons existed. So for 60% of the Chinese people, they were like, kung fu super stupid. You don't need to train kung fu if you don't if there are weapons, you know. So even back then he had problems, but the thing he's
Outdated form of defense. Because
outdated
the
form of
weapons is
defense, and the
more
people
powerful.
were just like, the most interesting thing was like that people could send their children to kung fu schools if it was the weakest of them, of the children, you know. If one child got every year like several colds, it was the child they sent to kung fu school. And that's what I love about the Chinese system. That's what I wanted to mention, because the Chinese system, you have either normal schools or you have academic sports schools. And these academic sports schools are mostly based on sanda and kung fu and self-defense. And most of these graduates, they go to military schools, or they go to bodyguard schools after that, or they become a wushu athlete, or they become an actor. So there are possibilities for these more physical schools, and that's what I love, you know, because most people, we have
Amazing.
different types of intelligence. One is emotional intelligence. They should work like on social skills, and should work with people, should become healers. Back then, in that time, 6,000 years ago, that was super normal. If you saw a child
Yes.
was super empathic, they used that to become a priest, and the other one was super physical, they used him to become a warrior or a soldier.
Yes.
And that's what
It's
my
so
master
obvious.
felt.
Yes.
It's obvious, it's very obvious,
Yeah.
you're right. It should
Yeah.
be, it
You
should be.
use your natural skill. But the thing is, when we come out, because we've been stuck in that thing, we don't know. We should be learning in school what your natural ability is, and
Exactly.
you don't learn it. You don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, in the back of your head, a lot of people know. They don't know how to apply it in the traditional society. Even if
Mm.
they know, oh, this is my natural ability, they end up pursuing it as a hobby. So their natural ability might be they're good at painting. And then they use this
Exactly.
natural ability and go, yeah, but I can't do anything with it. Or even their parents might say, yeah, I know, but what are you going to do? How many artists are there? How many people make money out of it? You need to make money. It's like, no, I need to paint.
And
And,
that's
that,
and that
and
and
so
that's
they end up
actually, yeah.
choosing
And
this as a hobby rather than what they truly like. I tell you a quick story. I'm sorry,
yes.
I will tell you, because I have one from literally 1 week ago, that me and my brother, we went to a cafe in Stratford, and on the napkin there, where you put a little bit of change, your spare change, a little tip, there was a hand drawing of a cup of coffee with steam coming out of it. It was amazing. So we asked about this. Now, she said it was the lady who works there that drew it, but then she pointed at the paintings on the walls, which we didn't notice. And she pointed and said, I like art. I paint all these. This is mine. And I'm not saying she doesn't want to work in that cafe, but we know why she is working in that cafe. But what she really wants to do, this is an older lady, what she really wants to do
what's
is
your
this.
purpose?
She kind of knows, but she doesn't know how to make it her purpose.
And
She
that's
needs to be
perfect.
told.
That Yeah, that's a perfect point, because I want to I want to emphasize on that point. The most interesting thing, I think, because I tried to study that problem for me too. You know, that's why I went. That's why I flew to such a far country and as to such a foreign culture, because I want to expose myself to problems. I want to expose myself to life, because the more you get to know life and problems, the more you know what you can do and what you can't do.
Ah,
So
yes.
it's perfect.
You took
So I was
yourself
like,
out of your country, out of your situation where you're at home with your parents. You threw yourself out of that and went, is this it? Or is there more? Is there
is
something
there more?
else?
Exactly. And that's the thing, the main point about education and what is happening in the Western world. I think like the Western world has, that's why we call it society diseases or industrial diseases, because mostly the Western world is suffering from hip problems, knee problems, chronic back pain, migraine, all these chronic diseases. Western
Yeah.
science can also not, yeah, they can heal, they can help people with chronic diseases. Most of the time they can help with smaller problems, or you know. But the thing is, I think the Western world has all these health problems, and we have also the biggest rates of depression in young people and the biggest rates of suicides in young people. So I think all these Western world problems come from one single root. My master always told me 1,000 disease and one, how do you say that in German, in English, 1,000 disease and one solution. So he said, like, there's only one state of being healthy. You know, there's, you cannot say I'm this healthy, I'm that healthy. You're just healthy. So, and you have 1,000 diseases. And the Western
Mhm.
world, I think, there 1,000 diseases derive from that we have no spiritual leadership. Spiritual leadership would bring children to know what they want. They would help young people to educate themselves freely. They would see where people have their strengths and their weaknesses. And that's the problem, because first, the Romans started to killing our Celtic culture. Then the Vatican came to further emphasize it. And now in the modern world, for example, you are like England and Germany are Christian countries, and now we throw again away our culture. Now we throw again away. We becoming more atheistic. We become
Yes.
more unspiritual. We don't
Yes.
like. So we're always throwing away our culture. And if we throw
Yes.
away our spiritual culture and our leadership of
Yeah.
Celtic druids or of priests or of shamans
Yeah.
or of Catholic or I don't know, like the more spiritual leadership you have, the healthier society is. And that's what you have in China. That's why I needed to go there to realize, oh wow, we have that in the Western world too.
Well, yes, and as you say, and it's still there, but you don't feel the same as it used to be, because now it's kind of like you're told that you've got to be ashamed of it, and you can't do that anymore, and it's not there for those reasons. It's just not.
Mm.
It don't feel the door is open, but there's not much encouragement to go there. The encouragement is to embrace everything else and do not care about your heritage. That doesn't matter anymore.
Yes,
That's in the past. We don't do that
exactly.
no more. We don't do that
Yes,
anymore, you know?
yeah,
And so I now
that's
have to be ashamed of it. I have to
yes,
celebrate everything else, and anything that I may or may not like, I'm not allowed. It's not
yes,
live and let live.
yes.
Yes.
It's like they would say that's conservative, but I was like you know, like my friends, they all were very happy with being that liberal, you know, but I felt like I was like that modern society. We say we improve and we will go on further and become more advanced, but I thought on an emotional spiritual level, uh, we actually go back, you know. And that's why I told my friends I'm going to China, and they were like, no one of my friends believed me back then. They were like, no way, Yuri's going to China. Like that.
Mm.
That's super stupid. He's going there for studying kung fu. You know, go to kung fu school there. They're going to kill him. He's not coming back. So I was like, they didn't understand why I needed that, because most of the time, me as a young Western white guy, I get a lot of possibilities. I get like, I'm very privileged. So why did I give up my privileges? Because I realized that the most, like 99% of the world, and how you grew up and how my dad grew up, they didn't have any of these privileges. And I thought, that's what I saw in my generation and my friends. I thought that young white males are very weak and susceptible to brainwash, because we don't have culture, we don't have strength, we are not interested and stable in our gender or in our mindset, how we perceive things, how we act with things, how men get along with rage or anger. We didn't learn shit about that. So my whole friendship was either radical left, because they didn't need to bring their anger anywhere, or they became intellectual and didn't radicalize themselves into left or right wing mentalities. So
Yes.
I was like, how can I not become a young, like, like, I wanted to get humbled. I was like, my generation is very weak, and I want to be like my father. He was a big
Yes.
idol to me, and a hardworking, good man. Treated his woman right, took care of his family. I was like, I want to be like him. So I thought, I'm going to put myself into a situation which is like this. And China is like, on the rural side in China, you still feel like it's 1950s. So it's
What a fantastic realization for you at that young age to realize this and pursue this. That is amazing. But what a shame that you didn't feel like you could do this in your home country. This is
definitely.
not good.
That's the right.
At some point,
Yeah.
hopefully, you will have children as well. And what is it going to be like then? And you obviously have a bit more sense about it, so maybe you'll help guide them. But if it's like this for you now, you realized it. But as you say, most people don't, because, and you've mentioned this word a number of times now, because they are distracted.
Yes.
They're not allowed.
Yes.
They will know it. They're not allowed. These ideologies, these views and stuff that they have, a lot of the time, they are not natural. They are what is on the telly. That is what is
exactly
preached to them through the media, whether it be social media, looking at others, and then it just goes from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And then all of a sudden you look around you and go, hang on, if I don't think exactly and feel exactly the same as all of these people, then I am now in the wrong. I can't think or feel the way I want to feel. I have to feel exactly the same as everyone else. They're trying to make everybody exactly the same. Well, I don't believe that. I don't think like that. And I'm okay with you thinking like this. But why are you not okay with me thinking like this? I'm okay. You can think
exactly
whatever you like, but let
this is
me too.
this exactly this is so it's like a culture where conservative people have to accept liberalism, but liberalist people don't want to accept conservative people. And I
Yes.
didn't that's perfectly said, and I thank you very much, Steve, because that's a very important point. So I was like, so it's like, I don't want to be this to become more political, but it's actually the reason why I went
Yeah.
to China, why I started training Kung Fu and martial arts, because I felt like a brotherhood is very important. To have a family, like a Kung Fu family, to have people who strive with me for the best, who try to improve myself. And people who could guide me, and I had a moral compass, and that's what you don't have. But of course, that's what conservatism means. Conservatism doesn't mean the middle or the right wing. Conservatism just means that you have rules and you keep up these rules. And I think, how would democracy work without rules or laws? It would not. So
Yes.
conservatism we need until a certain extent. And I received that in China. My masters were very strict. They were less strict with foreign students. They didn't beat us like the Chinese people. But I asked my master at some point, like, we can talk, we can have another talk where we go more into my experience there, because at some point, when I was really becoming better, and my master saw me like he accepted me more, and realized that I was not a weakling or because most of these students from foreign countries just go to China for 1 month, for 2 months, for 3 months, and
You
maybe
prove
they
yourself.
book. Exactly. Maybe they book for 6 months, but most of them are leaving after 3. So he was like, he's never going to stay for 1 year. And I stayed there for 1 year. And at some point he accepted me, and I asked him if he could beat me too. He was like, this guy's crazy. This guy's singing like a Chinese man. I asked him, really, yeah, you can beat me. Like, I told him, you can beat me. I won't use any law forces if you hit me too hard. It's like this, you my father now. And at some point, this structure gave me so much, having the structure and this conservatism, these rules, and being humbled, that changed my personality so much. I started to appreciate my parents much more. And that's why I came back. And after 1 or 2 years in Germany, I started also embracing Christianity, because I felt like, well, it's the same, it's a brotherhood. People come there to strive for their best. You have a family, you have practitioners who do it with you. And for example, in Chinese martial arts, there's a lot of neigong, alchemy and inner practitioners, and people who practice empathy or compassion through Kung Fu. And I started seeing all these things in our own culture. And so now I start to combine these two and have the best out of, my biggest idol is Bruce Lee, and he said, take the best out of all and throw the rest away.
No. Well, this is it, right?
Yeah.
This is it. Youri, I'm looking at the time, and I know you have probably, I don't know, you probably have other things to do. So we'll leave that there. That was a good introduction to how we met. What are you up to for the rest of the day? You have other things that you need to do?
Yes, I'm going to have Qigong training right now with a friend and my sister. I'm going to teach them a little bit. Yes, exactly. Zhangzhuang, a little bit of exactly standing postures to correct the meridian flow. Actually, my sister, who I'm going to train, is a very well educated shiatsu master. She's from a very big lineage of Japanese healers from Chinese medicine, because shiatsu is like Chinese medicine which came over to Japan. And she studied shiatsu, and I don't know, maybe it's our genes, but I do Kung Fu, she does Japanese culture, and we understand so much about Chinese medicine. When we talk, it's just like telepathic. We know what the other one tries to say, with qualities and tonification and lack of chi, and so we help each other with that. And I
wonder if you would have had that same connection had you not gone down your Chinese kung fu path and gone to China. If you'd have just gone and got a normal job, she'd be talking all this brilliant stuff to you, and you'd be going, I ain't interested, sis. I've got to get up. I've got to get up in the morning and go work. You see,
and that's what you said. That's what you said earlier, Steve. Because that's a very brave investment you do, and you dare to not go the normal way and do what other people told you. And my sister and myself, we risk. And our dad, he was. He supported that from the beginning, and he was very proud on us that we took a road which most people don't dare to do. So I'm very blessed.
Yeah, you are right, and we are not stupid. We know that not everybody is allowed to pursue what they like. So respect to your father, your parents, for allowing the pair of you. Is that just you and your sister? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for allowing you to explore your passions. This is brilliant. They did not withhold and tell you, don't do that, it's stupid, you must go and do this or whatever. I love it. So respect to them as well. Excellent.
Yeah, and I would love to have further episodes, Steve. It's very beautiful to talk with you. It's very natural. It flows.
Yeah. Okay.
Like we should face each other with open hearts. Like we should be open for each other. And I think every individual has so much wisdom and experience. That's the most important thing. And if you would appreciate that more, Steve, this world would be very beautiful.
Yeah, the people don't know it though, as we know, because they have no time. They're tired. Got to go home. Got to cook dinner. Got to do stuff for the kids. Got to put them to bed. Oh, now I've got no time for myself. I'm tired. I've fallen asleep. I've got to get up and go and do it all again. There's no time.
Yes.
There's no freedom. They have no freedom of thought to
Yes.
explore other things. You know, try and embrace their creativity, whatever it is they're good at. You know,
Yes.
whatever it is, because we
Yes.
don't know.
Yeah. Dare
So
to do what the heart tells you.
yeah. There you go. See, isn't
Yeah.
it bad? Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
But isn't it? Is it stupid that you have to dare to
You
do that?
probably know Xingyi Quan, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, for sure. Like
well, maybe, but maybe not in the way you've said it, because obviously you've done the Mandarin Chinese version.
Xingyi Quan, I think it was in one of the Ip Man movies also, where like
Okay.
very straightforward, very explosive style. It's not that important, but Xingyi Quan means heart intention.
Okay.
So it's like having an intent without an intent. So your heart needs to be pure to be a good martial artist and to be a good fighter. It's very deep. Even the name of this martial arts tells you what martial arts needs to be. And if you would be more like Xingyi, you know, like heart intention.
Well, there you go. And this is created and a thing that's been thought about years and years ago.
Mm.
And like you say, these things are being lost, unfortunately, to rubbish.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll leave that one there then, Youri. Next time, if you're happy to, I'd love to have you on again if you want to.
Yes, for sure, Steve. I would
Brilliant.
love to.
And we can discuss other things. There's plenty of other things to discuss. We can go much more deeper into your times in China. We could probably do a whole episode just on that. There's lots to explore here, which is why it's a lifelong journey, if you like. But we can cover all of this in many episodes, no problem.
I would love to, Steve. It's an honor.
Now, thank you, Youri. I appreciate you agreeing to come on and being so open and chatting about everything.
Have a good time, Steve. Thank you.
Well, same, yeah, brilliant. Same for you. Good luck. I'll see you soon, yeah?
Yes.
Thanks a lot. See you later, mate.
See you later, my friend.